They say Tim Storey could be talking to you, a fire could start burning, and he will still be talking to you while he's putting out the fire. I'm a pro at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Storey.
Acclaimed life coach, speaker, and author, and has worked with Hollywood's biggest stars,
including Charlie Sheen, Kanye West, and Robert Downey Jr.
Inspiring personal growth through faith, optimism, and practical wisdom.
Any celebrity I work with, there's a process that one must go through. Number one, if you're in a setback, you have to become awake. The second thing, you have to take inventory. You have to look at your life and say, do I like the way my life is working? Thirdly, you got to partner with the right people. Let's take a Charlie Sheen, who's a great friend of mine. If he got around me, he did better. When he got around other people, he didn't do so well.
If I were to strip away the accolades of Tim Storey and the success, who is Tim Storey?
That's a great question, actually. So I think that, I think I'm going to give you some insight that I don't give in interviews that I do. I think that.
Hi guys, quick one. A small favor I want to ask, if you're enjoying the episode that you're currently watching, is to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It goes a long way in supporting our vision of the podcast, where we want to go, the guests we want to talk to, and your simple gesture of clicking subscribe is the biggest favor you can do for us. So if you could do that right now, that would be awesome. Thank you so much, and back to the episode.
Tim, what do I need to know about your early years, childhood, for me to really get a context of the man that you are today?
I think part of it is the idea of not having like everything you wanted and having to find a way to be content. And so like the Apostle Paul in the Bible says that godliness with contentment is great gain. So I remember us wanting like a certain type of tennis shoe that was popular called Converse. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't afford that. So we had like the alternative to that. So I learned to be content, but knowing that I was going to change the situation at some point.
How did you get that confidence when you were young? Because you mentioned you 2-bedroom apartment in Compton.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
I really think it's two things. I think it was innate. I think sometimes you see kids, they can just be, raised in a farm and they have this swag about them, this confidence about them. So I think part of it is innate. And then the second part is learned behavior. All it took for me is to see a couple people that were making it. And one of the ways I saw that is Walt Disney. They used to do these films like on Sunday nights back in the, when I was a kid. And I would see these films and I'd see everything about fantasy and something that was magical and amazing. And I started to think to myself, I think I'm going to live like this type of life. Yeah. It's like beyond.
How old were you?
I was super young. I would say probably 6 years of age.
Yeah.
But at 6 years of age, my sisters were already calling me the king. So I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And they would say, the little king, he walks around like he's a little king. But it was like an inward swag, not an overconfidence, definitely not like a pride. I just didn't even know what that was at that age. But I just knew that I was built for something.
And you talked about that being somewhat innate. You also mentioned that, hope I get his name right, Mr. Prober.
Yeah.
Your
my sixth grade teacher
said that you're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like externally that validation helped a 6-year-old?
I think it changed my life at that time, yeah. Because I feel that people that get around me today who really get to know me know I don't do a lot of thinking about myself. I don't do a lot of thinking about what I've accomplished and what I'm doing next and like all these projects. I really live in the now. So in 6th grade, when my teacher said, Timmy, can you stay after class And then all the students went like, ooh, because they thought maybe I was in trouble. And I came to his desk and he said, I just wanted to tell you something. I think you are, and I didn't know what he was going to say next, you are a great basketball player because I saw him in the stands at my game, a great dancer because I won the dance contest at the school. He says, I think you are brilliant. And I had never heard that word said to me before.
Yeah.
I think you are brilliant. And where I'm really thankful to what I did is I took those words from the air and I labeled myself with them.
Yeah.
I didn't go tell people he thinks I'm brilliant. I never even told my mother or my sisters. My sixth grade teacher told me that I'm brilliant. I just took them, put them on me, and then started acting brilliant.
Wow. If that never happened, if he never said those words, do you think things may have ended up different?
I think the words would have come around somewhere.
Right.
Because I think that people that are creative recognize other creatives. Like if you look at the great Quincy Jones, who was my mentor for probably 37 years, he worked with Steven Spielberg on The Color Purple. He worked with Frank Sinatra. He made one of the greatest albums of all time, Thriller. Quincy has an ability to spot talent.
Yeah.
And to spot when somebody has something in them. So whether it was my sixth grade teacher or then my Little League baseball coach later who spotted that I had something special, or Quincy Jones or Oprah later in life, then it was, they recognized it and then they wanted to help build it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were 18, you started a program for kids on the street.
Yes.
Called Think Big in Small Places.
Yeah, perfect.
What was that about?
So I think that, when I was in seminary, I'm driving down the street and I see these areas where they have these these inner cities that look like really dark. I'm seeing really little kids on the streets just playing and sometimes even in diapers. Wow. So I'm thinking to myself, this is not good. So I talked one of my roommates into walking around this neighborhood with me, and we're just kind of snooping around. And this black lady looks at me, and she teased, because I look a little bit like this one singer, and she called me his name. And so she said, what are you doing walk around this neighborhood? I said, I actually go to the seminary that's not too far from here. And tell me about the kids. What do they do for summer? Do they have a YMCA, a YWCA? Is there anything for them where they're being taught about greatness? And she goes, of course not. She goes, we go to church. So we have Sunday school, but there's nothing like that. I said, would you like a program like that? I said, if I was to come in here and bring in some NFL players, professional football players, would that interest you? Do you think that'd be a great idea? And she goes, you can do that? Well, I didn't know if I could. So she said, you could do that? And something in me said, yes, I could do that.
Did you know any NFL players?
No, I did. I knew no one.
Wow.
Not one. So then she said, you could do that? And I didn't know if I could. And then I said, yes, I can. She goes, well, I'm Mrs. So-and-so, and I happen to be a school teacher. And I said, so how do I contact you? So there was no cell phones back then. So she gave me her phone number for her and her husband. I took the number. I called her 2 weeks later, and I said, hey, I've been working on this, and I have these two great football players.
Wow.
And they were really good ones.
Yeah.
To the point where they were going to draw kids.
Wow.
So now I needed money. So I started going around getting people to do sponsorships, that we would have giveaways to kids and things for kids. And then we did a talent contest. So I was, 18 years of age already in the inner cities working this out for kids. and then ended up doing it in such a big scale that one of the events that I did had like thousands and thousands and thousands of kids in one event.
I mean, I feel like there's a bit of a business lesson there where you said yes to something before you knew how to do it.
Yes.
Yet you were still confident in your ability to make it happen. And then you said yes and then figured it out later. Where did you get that? Because I feel like so many people feel like they need to have it all mapped out, have everything ready to go. And then, okay, when I'm perfectly ready, I'll commit.
Yeah, well, I think you're correct. So I think in life, some things you decide and some things you discover. Most people are on the decision side. So they're thinking after high school, what am I going to do?
Right.
After college, what am I going to do?
That's what society asks us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that we're married, what are we going to do? So you're right. So that's coming now from social media, that's coming from commercial, that's coming from movies, that's coming from TV shows. It's coming from everywhere. But I think that sometimes you decide and some things you discover. And that's very powerful. Yeah. And that's a Tim Storey phrase. Some things you decide, some things you discover. And I think some of my things that I've done in life were strong decisions to be this guy. Others, like the inner city thing, that was a discovery.
Right.
Can you get these guys? Yes. That was a discovery.
Yeah.
And when I went through that door of discovery, it just started opening up more and more and more doors.
And you ended up from there eventually becoming one of the premier life coaches, essentially, for very famous, well-known people. For the audience that's unfamiliar, who are some names that you've worked with in the past that they may know?
I would just say I've worked with most of the biggest stars in the world.
Okay.
Probably over 300 entertainers.
Wow.
So let them use their imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at this stage of my life, like when I was younger, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I've helped this guy or her, and then people would see it as bragging or whatever. So at this stage of my life, if there's a big entertainer that's famous, that's in trouble, probably a good percentage I've worked with that person, male or female.
Yeah.
Like the three biggest stories in America 2 weeks ago, I worked with all three of the biggest stories in America.
Got it. So we'll let them use their imagination on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I work with the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them was the more publicized one is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a bit younger, it was very public, his affair with alcohol, drug abuse and everything. And I hardly really knew him back then. And then he came out for Marvel as Iron Man.
Yes.
And I thought, this guy is brilliant. And I wonder what happened from that, all the news to him being like the iconic Iron Man for Marvel. What was your journey? And the context of why I'm asking is not everyone would be going through the same thing that Robert did.
Yeah.
But I do think there's parallels and things we can all relate to with his journey of, being in situations that you may not necessarily want to be in, but you're just in there. What was the journey that you went on with Robert?
Yeah, well, I won't get into the journey with Robert because I think that is so personal because me and him are best friends.
Sure.
So that's like if something happened to your sister and you walked her through an unwanted pregnancy and then you gave the details.
Of course.
But I will say this, that let's say with any celebrity I work with, there's a process that one must go through. Number one, if you're in a setback, you have to become awake.
Awake.
The second thing, you have to take inventory. You have to look at your life and say, do I like the way my life is working? So you become awake, you take inventory. Thirdly, you got to partner with the right people, okay? And then number four, you have to find the right principles. And so I think that, let's take for a minute a Charlie Sheen, who's a great friend of mine, and he's had his ups and downs. With Charlie, my thing was, if he got around me, he did better. When he got around other people, he didn't do so well. So I was really trying to create in him atomic habits before James Clear wrote that book.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about, for guys like that, male and female, to get into the right principles.
Right.
And the way I brought in the principles is I brought in the Word of God. I didn't bring in religion. And this is where a lot of Christian people miss it. They will say to me, like, well, how Christian is that guy? Or how Christian is she? Well, so that's why I don't mention the names.
Right.
Because I don't like the responses.
Of course.
If people had given me better responses when I used to mention the names, then I'd give the names. But I don't like the responses because what they would say is, oh, well, I saw her in this movie. That doesn't seem very Christian. So I don't think that's fair.
Of course.
I think that for the people that I've been able to help and for those that have, accepted Christ and gone for Christ, that, I don't think that they should have people peeping into their lives like they're in a fish tank. I think that people should just be excited that somebody was out there trying to help them get better.
And you said you use the word of God a lot in your coaching, and I noticed that a lot of your audience, they may not have the same beliefs as you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yet somehow you're able to empower them to draw power and wisdom through the word of God.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, I think I'm going to decide to give you some insight that I don't give some people in interviews that I do. I think that a lot of religious leaders come off so religious that people don't really want to talk to them.
Right.
And they're so quick to judge. They think one sin is bigger than the next because their marriage made it and the other guy's faltered. So now this person's got an eternal stigma. Yeah. And the guys I hang out with, they don't go for that. They don't really even know the famous ministers' names. Yeah. They don't want to know their names. And so that's the big wake-up call that people need to pay attention to. And so when I'm coming in with God, it's because I'm living with God and I'm living for God. And they're seeing the authenticity of a man of God. In fact, I was with a very famous guy that everybody would know his name, and his friend got introduced to me, and he shook my hand, and he cussed. He said, "Oh," and he said a cuss word. And then his friend started laughing, and he said, "I told you." and he goes, I go, "What are you guys talking about?" He said, "I told him when he meets you, he will feel your power." Yeah. Because I walk in power.
Yeah.
I walk in authority.
Yes.
So it's a difference between trying to get someone to join my club.
So I feel that. And I mean, we were at the event yesterday and I felt everybody there felt something, whether they, are Christian or not.
Yeah.
Like, people feel something. If there's someone watching this and they're like, okay, maybe there's something here. I don't necessarily believe in what you believe in, but like, I'm curious. What's like, is there a verse? Is there a thing, a place that people can start looking and discovering and finding some kind of wisdom?
Yeah. I think that if you look at what the Apostle Paul said, he said that we are like an epistle that are read by people. So
what does that mean?
We are like we should be a walking example of God's written word.
Right.
And so I think that the key is to lead with love and care about people and listen to people rather than just preaching against them and just making them feel terrible. Let's dialogue with them. If somebody is spinning out of control in their life, let's try to find out why. If somebody is getting divorced, maybe they have good reason on why they're at least considering it. Before we judge somebody, maybe we should just talk to them. And so I think that one of the things that Jesus did is that he reasoned with people. He dialogued with people. To take people like Peter, who was a fisherman, who struggled with his temper. He was so mad at somebody, cut off somebody's ear. Then there's another time he messes up and Jesus is coming to the end of his life and Peter's cussing. Thomas is doubting. John is overly emotional. So all these guys that Jesus was discipling, they were going through recovery and discovery at the same time. I think we tell these people, come to Jesus. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be rad. It's going to be so awesome. And then they do. And then 5 years later, something goes wrong in their life. And then they're not so awesome to our community. That's not really a good way of doing things.
No.
So I'm up to something else. I'm into this thing that, Jesus is the author and the finisher of our faith. So I really don't give up on people, and that's what I'm known for.
In your book, The Miracle Mentality, Tim, you talk about escaping the messy, mundane, and mad. What does that mean?
I think that number one is that there are things in life that are mundane that we just have to do. It's like maintenance.
Yeah.
It's cleaning your house. It's throwing the trash. We call it the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. What do they call that in Australia? Like you need to do something for your car's registration.
Right, you just pay the registration.
What do they call that in Australia?
In my state, Vic Roads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't like to go to the DMV. They have bad lighting.
You have to go, like, in person?
You go in person,
Oh,
but
wow.
they have really bad lighting, and I don't like bad lighting. So the DMV, people look miserable. They're sitting in that bad lighting, waiting in line.
It's like the
do
light is
something.
designed to make them miserable, right?
Yes, probably not on purpose, but that's just the way it is. So in life, there's a lot of things that you have to do that are mundane.
Yeah.
But I have learned to master the mundane in my life. I'm a master of the mundane.
What do you mean by that?
I throw the trash and I don't complain. When I live by myself, I do the dishes and I don't complain. I do a lot of chores that people don't know that I do and I don't complain. I go to the car wash, I sit around like everybody else and don't complain. So I do the mundane, but I master the mundane. And then in life, you have the mundane, then you have the messy. The messy is the disheveled. That's when things come in that you did not expect, like a pandemic, and we got to stay in a house, or you got COVID, or somebody broke up with you, or somebody lied about you, or somebody fired you. So you can master the mundane, but you could also master the messy.
Okay.
If I can get you to master the mundane, I could teach you to master the messy.
Okay.
So a guy like me, this is what I'm known for. They say, Tim Storey could be talking to you, a fire could start burning right next to him, and he will still be talking to you while he's putting out the fire. I'm a pro at that.
Wow.
Like, I got like 9 dilemmas going on at one time right this second that are not personal. It's just people that I'm helping through big problems.
Yeah.
But you would not know it because I just stay at a place of peace. But that is something that I worked at. So the mundane, the messy, but then it can escalate to the madness. And this is where a lot of people are.
Right.
The madness of the fear, the madness of what's happening to my life, the madness of, oh, now I've done this and now I've tarnished myself forever. Jesus says the opposite of that. Jesus is all about turning things around. He's about giving people beauty and taking away their ashes.
Yeah. So that means we can all master the 3 levels.
100%.
And you said that, you know, you're dealing with a lot of people who are in the messy, in the mad, and it's in their situation, but I'm guessing it's going to be a lot harder to master it when you are personally in that situation yourself and you're feeling the, you know, like all four walls are closing in, and we've all been there before.
Yeah.
What's like a recent situation perhaps you've faced that was either mad or messy, and how did you, well, essentially coach yourself through that?
That's a great question, actually. So I think that, like, when the pandemic hit, that was very strange for me because I've spent so much of my life since I was 20 years of age traveling the world. I've been to 82 countries of the world. But somewhere like England, I've been 81 times. Sweden, I've been 68 times. South Africa, 32 times. Australia, about 19.
Should come here more.
Yeah, I love Australia.
Yeah.
So I think that when the pandemic hit, and that said lockdown, it made me feel very claustrophobic. And just like anybody else, I wondered, like, yeesh, like, what's going to happen? What's next? Even though I have a lot of money, when your money starts to get hit at the level that I was getting hit, you question, like, how long is this going to go and what am I going to do? Because one of the things that I do is I speak at these big conferences that are non-religious. They're secular conferences, and they pay me literally a car every time I speak. So it's like getting a whole car. Okay, so who wouldn't want that? Would you want that?
I'll take that.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
So when they say that conference got canceled and so you don't get a car, then that got canceled
Right.
so you don't get a car, and then you have a staff of many, many people, I'm like anybody else. I was like, yikes. So no, I felt that.
Yeah. And how did you coach yourself through that? Because, I mean, COVID was different. The duration of lockdown was different throughout the world. Unsure about your personal experience, but at that moment where you're like, is the world going to eventually go back to live in-person events, or is it going to stay virtual forever? And even if it does have like live events and people going to rock up, like there's all those doubts, I'm guessing. How did you coach yourself through that?
Okay, so the key is I did not coach myself through it.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, I found myself overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So there are times in the Bible where Gideon was overwhelmed. He was in a wine press hiding when God was looking for him. Then there was a time where Moses was overwhelmed. He was in the backside of the desert working for his father-in-law for minimum wage. He was overwhelmed. So during the pandemic, I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try to life coach myself because I couldn't see clearly. So I needed people from a different perspective.
Right.
So I called some smart human beings.
Yeah.
And that's what's good about having a community. And one of the smart human beings said to me, Tim, I'm going to tell you right now, you should start coaching more companies because the companies, they got to keep going.
Yeah.
And they need somebody that can come in as an executive coach, because I was already doing that for some. But oh, did he give me an idea?
Yeah.
The next thing I knew is like ding, 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 ding. And I got one of the biggest jobs that I ever have had in coaching one of the greatest companies in the world.
Yeah.
And with a lot of employees, close to 2,000 employees. And I became the executive life coach for them all through the pandemic.
Wow.
And so between that and all the other jobs that were coming in to coach companies, that opened up a whole different side of my life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that idea where it says that sometimes God has to close a door to open up the door.
Yeah.
So that opened up another side of life for me.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but if you were to guess, how many people would you have coached in your career?
I think that I'm coaching people every day.
Yeah.
I'm coaching my friends' kids, and they don't even know it. I'm like, should you really pick your nose? Yeah, I want to. I don't think you should. But you think I'm joking. This is really a true story. The kid just kept picking his nose. Right. And I said, come here, that's not a great idea.
Yeah.
And you know what he said to me? How come it itches? I go, there's other ways to do it. So I know I'm coaching people without them knowing it. I'm coaching waiters. I'm coaching people at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Just everywhere you go.
Oh, yeah. Like at Starbucks, I ordered a drink for me and my sister, and then they're supposed to do it, and then they bring it over here, and then they call your name, right? And then I saw 3 guys just clowning around and not doing anything. And just for fun, I decided to time it.
Yeah.
So I looked, 17 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
And they still didn't call, but I saw the 2 cups. It said Tim on them.
Yeah.
So I went to the guys. I said, hey, you guys, come here. 3 guys. And they're like, who's this guy? I go, come here, bro. All 3 of you. I go, so help me out with something. This thing that says Tim on it, whose is this? And the guy says, it's for Tim. I said, I was sitting here. You didn't call my name. You're supposed to call my name.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's right there. I said, no, but you should call my name. And so I said, let me just tell you something. The only reason I will coach somebody if I see if they're willing to change.
Right.
I said, you 3 guys, this is temporary. You're at Starbucks, temporary. I said, step it up.
Yeah.
Step it up. Come on, step it up. And I promise you, all 3 of them went like this. They go, dude, man, we feel your fire. And one guy goes, like, you look famous. Are you famous? I go, not so much. That's not what I'm trying to say. I said, but follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they look and it said 3.1 million followers. And the guys go, okay, okay, man, we're paying attention.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We were just loafing around.
Yeah.
I go, no, I like you so much that I'm calling you out because now you're wasting my time. I'm supposed to go somewhere. So no, I'm always coaching people. So I don't think I could put a number of people or the greatness of my coaching, or I coach this person and change their entire life. I think just being nice to my friends' kids and being nice to waiters and waitresses and people everywhere I go, I think that's a good way to go.
The context why I'm asking that question is often life coaching is so personal and everyone's on such a different, unique journey. But you've gone through this for decades and decades and decades. And I wonder if there's like parallels of the people who are dealing with the same issues on repeat for years on end. And what are those common roadblocks that people all experience?
Yeah. So here's the deal, is that in the 1920s, they were going through similar things, but they just didn't have, the same luxuries that we have.
Right.
The 30s, the 40s. I've been studying World War I, World War II to try to understand how so much conflict was going on in Europe. And now, like, people just fly Lufthansa right into Frankfurt. Or you can go right into Rome and there's no problem.
Yeah.
Okay? So because I'm snoopy and nosy, I want to know, like, so much more about what I didn't know so much about.
Yeah.
So even though I studied this during high school, junior high, and some in college, I've really done this deep dive where I'm becoming a lot more knowledgeable about different wars that have taken place. So mankind has always been struggling.
Yeah.
People will always go through recovery and discovery. So that's why Ecclesiastes is so real. So the book of Ecclesiastes says there is a time and a season for everything, Ecclesiastes chapter 3.
Yeah.
A time to tear and a time to mend, right?
Yeah.
Then it says a time to be silent and a time to speak. whoa, that means there's going to be times in my life, even as Tim Storey, that my life goes on silent.
Yeah.
So I could be living out loud and be like the flavor of the month, and everybody's just like loving me. And then there might be a season of silence for 5 years where you say, where is that guy?
Yeah.
So I got to be able to handle the silence, and I got to be able to handle the volume.
Right. So essentially, that sounds like a skill to not necessarily just find the good seasons in life and thrive in those, but in every season.
100%, because the reality is when Jesus says, I've come to give you life and life more abundantly, the word Zoe for life really means a life that is animated.
Right.
So I could be in the middle of pain and still find something to be animated about.
Right.
So that doesn't mean my life, because I'm living for Jesus, is going to be pain-free. Or if I'm married, it's going to be pain-free. But his life still brings me animation.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how powerful that is?
Yeah.
I mean, the Apostle Paul was in prison in Acts 19, and he was still animated.
Yeah.
He'd been beaten 39 times, and he's singing praises to God.
Yeah.
The enemy could not take away his animation. And to this point in my life, and I pray this continues, is that in all my pain and all my struggles, which I don't think is necessarily more than the next human, is that I maintain my animation.
Yeah. That's so interesting, because one person that you also subscribe to is Dr. Gabor Mate.
Yes, I
And
like him a lot.
The thing that blows my mind the most, this one simple line that he said was, the trauma doesn't dictate us, it's how we interpret what happens to us, right? And it sounds like everything that you've just said, it's we go through whatever we go through, but that doesn't necessarily dictate who we are, but it's how we interpret the pain or the suffering. So at a practical level, if someone is listening to this and going, okay, that sounds good, Tim, but you don't know what I've been through, and I don't have access to you now to listen to me. So I have this situation, and I do not feel like being animated.
Yeah.
I want to just shrink into my couch. Yet you're saying I can interpret this situation differently. How can I do that?
So number one, I don't blame you for wanting to slouch into your couch.
Yeah.
So I just heard recently a friend of mine found out that their spouse had been cheating for a long time, and these are religious people. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing to be animated about. I know of people that the kid was on a skateboard and a car hit him and damaged his life. That's nothing to be animated about. So I think that there's a time to grieve and there's a time to mourn. But I think that in that allotted time, the key is to stay in alignment with God. And in that alignment, what you will find is God's grace. And this is very powerful to hear, because grace fills in the gaps. So what happens in life is full of big gaps. Like 1 minute you were like the mega church leader, and now you're voted out.
Right.
1 minute your family looks so perfect, and now your 16-year-old is coming home drunk all the time. So I'm not wishing this on anybody, but it has happened to some people that I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do I do with these gaps? Do I try to do mind over matter? Or do I look to God and say, God, seriously, I'm a little bit overwhelmed with all this stuff, and I really need your power. I need your super on my natural. Will your grace fill in my gap?
You can just say that.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean it's going to instantly go away,
Right.
but I definitely feel like you feel his hand. So Jabez says this in the famous prayer of Jabez. He says, God, keep your hand upon me. That is one of the most powerful things in the Bible that people don't talk enough about.
I can feel that because of
God, put your hand, see, like with me, his hand is on me.
Yeah.
Even if I cuss somebody out, which I don't think I've done since I was like 20, his hand was still on me.
Yeah.
Even when people irritate me and I want to slam somebody, and talk back to them, his hand is on me.
Yeah.
So if somebody's a real father, what, you're going to stop fathering your child just because they're faltering? No. God, keep your hand on me. And so that's a hand of protection. That's a hand of direction, but that's also the hand of grace.
And to me, when you said that, I just thought if I'm going through like a dark street in the middle of the night and someone's hand was on me, I just feel less alone. And I feel like
Yes.
there's backup. There's somebody there with me going through that, right?
See, I still think that life is not black, it's not white. There's a whole lot of gray. Like, why did the Holocaust happen? That's a whole lot of gray. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do people feel like, oh my God, it's a blessing, my wife is finally pregnant, and then we find out she miscarries, not in the first month, second month, but in the 6th month, and now she still has to give birth to the baby. I like to talk real stories. These are the things I walk people through.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I'm also not into this thing where then somebody goes to church and everyone says, okay, are you happy? Woo! Are you happy? Is everybody happy? No, not everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not always a great question.
Different seasons.
Asked by a 22-year-old who's up there doing announcements.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, welcome, thank you for coming today. We're believing that today's going to make you a better person. Here's today's announcements.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot cooler way to do it. That's what you saw me do last night. You didn't see me one time to this Beverly Hills crowd go, are you happy? Yeah. Are you pumped up? Yeah. Is life not
a lot of
amazing?
people do that. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And then I think it gets people in this false zone of like, yeah, maybe I am happy. And they just forget about the stuff that's still there. And then the moment they leave that environment, they're like, oh, wait a minute, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Right?
So something happened to me one day that is like a little bit of a game changer. I was like on a roll, and I was in Michigan, and in the state, sometimes it snows. And this is 2 years ago, and it was around December. I was speaking for this big car company, like automobiles. And so an Uber driver pulled me into this area that they had sent the Uber for me. And, I like to joke about they pay you a car, right?
Yeah.
But you don't always get paid that much.
Yeah.
So, and to me, it's not about the money. So this one, they were paying me a lot, but not as much as some will pay you for these big companies, because they have that in their budget to do. So the Uber driver pulls up, and I don't like where he pulls up. He pulls up into an area that looked very slick, like there could be ice under the fact that snow was still coming down. So I rolled down my window, and snow's coming in, and I looked down. It looks slick to me. So there's two guys that are serving almost like representatives, not bodyguards, but they're like welcoming Tim Storey.
Yeah.
And I'm literally going to speak in 30 minutes at this thing. So they go ahead and get off. I go, I think you got ice underneath there. And he says, they go, no, look. It's just snow. So I take one step down, okay, in a dress shoe, because I had a suit on.
Yeah.
And boom, I flip. So my left ankle twists, not to the point of breaking, but heavy. And I'm on the floor this fast.
On ice.
Looking up on ice with snow coming down. So these guys aren't getting it. So they go, Mr. Storey, get up. And I go, okay, hold on 1 second. I go, I'm an athlete, so I need to see what just happened to my body. So I feel, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. That ankle went so big, but it did not break.
Yeah.
So then they helped me up. I never one time say, hey, didn't I tell you there's ice underneath? I didn't blame the driver. I didn't blame the two guys. And so one of the guys, he says, oh my gosh, I better tell the leader what's happened to you. You're supposed to go on in 30 minutes. I go, can you do me a big favor? Don't tell anybody. I said, just do me another favor. Don't walk so fast. Because you see that I'm hobbling.
Yeah.
So watch this. So what are you going to do? You got 800 people there. They've already paid my salary to speak before I even spoke, right? I'm not going to cancel. I'm already there.
Yeah.
But my ankle is huge. So I get in there and the guy says, I think I better tell the leader. He's going to need to know. I go, why? I said, I still got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes, I will get up there and speak. They said, well, what are you going to do? I said, do you guys have any electrical tape? I said, this is a big office. You have to have electrical tape.
Yeah.
So the guy goes, yeah, we do. I go, give me electrical tape and scissors. So the guy runs, gets electrical tape and scissors. So they don't know what I'm going to do. So I say, guys, if you don't mind, could you leave the office and come back in 5 minutes, and then I'm going to speak. This is a true story.
Yeah, wow.
This is so gangster.
You just wrapped it all up. Like.
So I take off my Gucci shoe, not the Gucci's have now, because I like Gucci's.
Yeah.
The dress ones. And so I take my shoe off, and I tape my ankle all the way with silver to my knee. Okay? All the way.
Yeah.
Pull my suit pant down, right? And they walk in, they go, so
What happened?
what'd you do? And I go, let's go. I'm ready. But just don't walk fast. So while they are walking slower, I said, don't take me to the front row and introduce me from there. There's a promo video that goes 2.5 minutes saying who Tim Storey is. I said, I'm going to come from the back of the stage.
Yeah.
And then they said, but the owners want to meet you first. I said, they'll be all right. They can meet me after.
Yeah.
Because I have to improvise.
Yeah.
So here's what I did. They're playing the video for 2.5 minutes and it's in the dark, right?
Yeah.
And so before the video is up, and because I know the video and I know it has like 30 seconds left,
Yeah.
I hobble in the dark to the middle of the stage, and I'm standing there with the mic, and then it says, and boom, and then
Lights
and
go
then,
on.
yeah, and then you hear an announcer say, "Let's welcome Tim Storey," and people go, they go crazy, right? So usually you see me speak.
Yeah.
I'm moving around everywhere when I talk, right?
Yes, yes.
Not this time.
Yeah.
I'm standing like Frank Sinatra, but I'm funny, I'm joking, but I know I can only move like this far, okay? But I'm moving this far and laughing and being animated. Ha, ha. The owner's going like slapping his knee like, thank God we hired this dark guy. This guy's amazing. Okay, so I said, if you guys liked what I said, stand up and clap your hands. And everyone's clapping. They're going, wow. They're going, because I'm done speaking. I said, if you enjoyed what I said, walk around and give 5 people a high five and tell them they can make it. I said, get out of your seats. And they're high-fiving. And guess who goes off the stage?
You're gone.
I think that's gangster. That was like my upbringing. That was, you go to school, you're sick, you go to school. You don't feel good, you go to work. You fall in the snow, you get up and you tape your ankle.
Tim, I want to end with the concept of identity.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about identity a lot. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this. like if I could speak on one topic for the rest of my life, I think it'll be identity. It's just something that I'm so passionate about. And I have a diagram that I use. It's 2 circles.
Yeah.
The outside circle is things that you do, and the inside circle is who you are. And I think both are forms of your identity. But in many places, we talk so much about the outside, which is the accolades, who you've worked with, all the prizes that you've won, how much money you have, what car you drive, etc. That people focus so much on that when any of those things change, the identity becomes unstable because we're not sure who we are on the inside.
Agree.
So one question I love to ask people is, if I were to strip away everything, the accolades of Tim Storey and the success, who is Tim Storey in the inside?
So just so you know, all that stuff is interesting because having money gives you opportunity, because if your mother's in trouble, you can pay for the trouble she's in. If your relative needs something, you could do something for them. You could put people through college in your family. So that's one reason I like having money. But if certain things were stripped from me, one thing they can never strip from me is that I'm kind. I am K-I-N-D. I am a kind person. And so at the end of my time here on earth, there will be somebody that will end up speaking better than me. And there'll be the guy that's being clapped for, he or she. There will be somebody that is like, you thought that was a life coach to the stars. You got to get a hold of this guy. He's only 12. And he's like, congratulations, buddy. So, you know, that's just part of life. But you can't take away my kindness. And that's been put to the test. I've been through a lot of pain. I've even had people lie about me, talk bad about me, but very few. I've been fortunate with that. I was thinking about that the other day. I think that, like, for a lot of guys that do what I do and help people, they get a lot of, like, the hateration. I get very little. But that little still could have got to me if I allowed it to. And so what I decided is it's not going to take away my kindness. And in fact, I've been very kind to people that I know have even talked bad about me. Yeah, I know even pastors that have said bad things about me, and I walk up to them at a famous pastors conference and hug them, and that kind of throws them off. But I do that because I truly care about people.
And that's who you are, and you're not going to change who you are for something that someone else has done.
No, but I thank God for that. I thank God for that, because I think that if you draw near to God, he draws near to you. And I probably have more of his attributes and characteristics than I even realize because of the time I've spent with God since I was 4 years of age.
And what are some questions the audience can ask themselves to try and discover who they are on the inside?
Well, I'm working on a new thing that I do called Discover the Hidden You. That's my new life coaching curriculum. That I take people through this Discover the Hidden You. The word hidden means to be concealed or to be covered.
Right.
I think most people, they need to discover the hidden them, that they are concealed, they've been covered by what their parents thought they should be, by what religion thought they should be, by what their spouse thought that they should be. Like, who are you really? So I say that in this curriculum that I teach is that the hidden you needs to be found. Watch how powerful this is. Found. Secondly, understood. And number 3, utilized. So you need to find who you are, understand who you are, and then utilize who you are. And so that's why I'm glad you were there last night. You saw me helping people in Beverly Hills in a $13 million home without any shame. And so some religious people could say, well, why do you go to the up and outers? I go to the prisons. I go to the orphanages.
Yeah.
I go to the rehab centers for free. So I like to go to the up and outers, the mid outers, and the down and outers.
Yeah.
And I think that's the Jesus style.
And is there a way that somebody could, the first step, find? Is there a way to do that?
The way to find your hidden self, your discover, and figure out who you really are is 3 ways. Education. The more you study, even the lives of other people, you can educate yourself to a better place by reading about other people that have done great things, even reading biographies about people. So we learn through education, conversation,
Yes.
and observation.
Right.
See? So I observe other people's lives and how they treat people. Like I would see older men when I was little, and I'd see them opening the door for their wife, and I would think, I want to be that kind of guy. Or someone was just like super good to somebody, I want to be that person. So the way you find yourself is through education, conversation, and observation.
And it's like when I see you be kind to people,
Yeah.
something inside me might be like, wow, I aspire to that.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps that's something that's hidden within me that you've unlocked by demonstrating that,
Yeah.
right? And that's the observation.
So I think one good thing for you as a younger guy to know that I don't feel like I'm the guy. So the last few years I keep getting all these awards, like these lifetime achievement awards. I'm like, come on, I haven't lived a lifetime yet. And I get a lot of clapping for what I am doing, but I think I'm just one piece of the puzzle, and maybe even a mid-level piece. But I've been able to do a lot with that mid-level piece, but I'm only one piece of the puzzle. So I don't really think I'm the guy. I don't think I'm the dude. I don't think I'm the complete answer. So that's why I'll talk to gentlemen like yourself who's very, very smart, because you know things I don't know. And so I like to learn from other people. And that gives me a lot of peace in my life to know that I do not have a Messiah complex.
Yeah.
I cannot save the world by myself, and that I can just do my part, and whatever my assignment is, I just want to do my assignment.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
I love that, Tim. We have a closing tradition on the podcast where every guest writes down their piece of advice into this journal.
Yeah.
And each person is a little bit of the puzzle, isn't it? And I like to pass on the previous guest's advice to the following guest. So what was left for you is, you are the writer of your own story. Don't be afraid to use your voice. There are people in this world you don't know yet, have not met yet, needing exactly what you have to say to them. Write your story, share your story. It's a lot of story. You hold the pen. Thank you for your existence. That's the advice that was left.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
So I would agree. I think it comes down to you've been given a mission. Ephesians 2:10. Before the foundations of the world, God created you, predestined you to do good works. And so get to doing good works and step out into the good things that God has already opened the doors for you to do.
I love that. Jim, thank you so much for being here today.
What a privilege. I like you and your wife. You're both super nice.
Thank you.
And what a privilege to talk to you, and continued success on all the things you're doing.
Thank you.
And let God shock you. He's got a lot of surprises for your life, so be open to the big surprises.
We're ready. Thank you so much, and we honor you for everything that you do for us and for the people around you. Thank you so much.